Alpen Pharmaceuticals in association with Higher Secondary Principals Forum.
Hello students, welcome back to the lecture series. This is part 2 of class 12 biology chapter 8 human health and diseases. Let me in short recapitulate what we had done in the part 1 of this chapter. We had discussed what being healthy is and what are the necessary things that one needs to keep into mind to have a proper health. We have also seen what is a disease and how does it interfere in normal functioning of the body. We have also seen the classification of diseases, where diseases can be classified into infectious and non-infectious type, and we have also seen the pathogens which are responsible for causing diseases. We have seen in brief the different common diseases that are seen in humans in various clusters, one being the bacterial disease. Secondly, we have seen viral diseases. In viral diseases, I had also specially mentioned about dengue and chikungunya, which also has to be included. Protozoan diseases also we have seen, one is malaria and second one is amoebic dysentery. We have seen diseases that are also caused by helminths, which are Ascariasis and Elephantiasis. Fungal diseases we have seen, that is ringworm infection, very common type of infections, and we have seen in general which are the control and the preventive measures of the infective diseases. Generally we need to adopt in order to maintain ourselves healthy. We have seen one infectious disease about AIDS, wherein we have seen the modes of transmission, who are responsible, who will be infected more with these diseases. We have seen the life cycle of HIV virus, and we have seen the diagnosis and the treatment, which is also related. We have seen that there are various agencies working toward disseminating information regarding HIV. Then we have also seen a disease which is cancer. We have seen the different types of tumors, malignant and benign tumors. We have seen the causes of the disease, where we have discussed of the agents which are causing the disease, and they are called as carcinogens. We have seen the physical agents, the chemical agents and the biological agents. The ways in which the cancer can be detected and diagnosed, and also in short the treatment of the disease. We have also seen the immune system of the body, where we talked about what in general immunity is. We have seen the immune system is made up of lymphoid organs. We have seen the classification of the lymphoid organs, wherein lymphoid organs have been classified into primary and secondary lymphoid organs, where bone marrow and thymus becomes the primary lymphoid organ, and spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches, small intestine and MALT being the secondary lymphoid organs. We have also seen in details the different functions and immune system tissues, wherein we have discussed about bone marrow, thymus, where they are responsible for production of two very important type of cells, that is the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes, which are then circulated from here into the rest of the body and goes to these organs of the lymphoid organs, that is the secondary lymphoid organs, where they are going to generate the immune response. Also, the MALT or the mucosa associated lymphoid tissue also was highlighted, where we have to remember that it constitutes for the 50% of the total lymphoid organs that are present, or lymphoid tissue that is present in human body. We have also discussed about the types of immunity, where we have seen the immunity can be classified into two types, the innate immunity and the acquired immunity. Innate immunity can be further classified into physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers and cytokine barriers, where description about this was also discussed. Acquired immunity on the other hand can be further classified into active and passive immunity, and we also know that this is characterized by presence of memory B and T cells, wherein the immune response generally is of two types here. One is the primary response, which is very slow, and the subsequent encounter with the pathogen gives rise to secondary immune response. These responses are carried out basically by production of protein substances which are called as antibodies within the blood, and these antibodies then attack the antigens or the pathogens, thereby destroying these antigens. So here we also have seen that B lymphocytes are the ones which are going to produce antibodies, whereas T lymphocytes are going to help the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. We have seen that the structure of the antibodies, wherein we see that there are 4 chains, 2 which are heavy chains and 2 which are light chains that we have seen. We have seen the place where specifically the antigen will bind to the this antibody molecule. We also know that the immune response which is brought about by the B cells by production of antibodies inside the blood, and it is called as the humoral immune response, whereas we have also seen that T cells are responsible to bring about cell mediated immune response. Example of cell mediated immune response is the graft rejection. We have also seen that there are 5 different classes of the antibodies or the immunoglobulins. We have discussed how an active immunity is different from passive immunity. Here it is during your lifetime when you are naturally getting exposed to different pathogens, the antibodies are secreted, and these antibodies gives you the, this is the active immunity. It is rather slow and it takes time to be fully effective. And examples are natural infections during your life, or when you take vaccines which is going to provide you immunity. Whereas passive immunity, it is when the ready-made antibodies are administered to the person when the quick response is needed. So this is an example, or this is the way in which the passive immunity is given to the patient. Examples we have discussed, one is colostrum, which is the milk secreted by the lactating mother during the first few days, which contains large amounts of antibodies which are required for infant gets rather protection from these antibodies. Similarly, snake bite requires a quick response, so anti-venom is administered. Similarly, a tetanus patient will also need administration of antitoxin, which is again an example of passive immunity. We have seen what is immunization. It is a very effective tool in modern medicine. We know that it is strengthening the defense mechanism of the host, whereby the vaccines is administered to the general public in order to prevent the diseases. There are various other agents of immunization. One can have vaccines, which are the common ones. Antibodies can also be directly administered, and there are anti-sera, which are the agents of immunization. On a detailed note, we have seen what is a vaccine. Vaccine is generally a preparation of antigen part of the pathogen, or it is a rather an inactivated or a weakened pathogen that is introduced into the body. What will happen upon vaccination is that the body cells or the B lymphocytes will produce large amounts of antibodies, and this weakened pathogen will be destroyed. On the other hand, it is also going to generate memory cells, the memory B cells and T cells, and this is a very crucial part of vaccination, where this memory cells on subsequent exposure to the same pathogen is going to produce massive amounts of antibodies and are going to protect the organism from that pathogen. Some examples we have seen here. And passive immunization, as already told, these are when a person requires quick immunization, preformed antibodies are administered to the patient. Next, we have also seen allergy, where allergy is an exaggerated response of the immune system towards certain allergens that are there in the environment. The symptoms are here, and these allergens are basically making the mast cells, or the type of the white blood cells, to release chemicals like histamine and serotonin, which are going to bring about this allergic symptoms. The diagnosis again is because of the patch test, and then treatment includes antihistamines and adrenaline and steroids. And then the last thing that we had discussed in the last part was autoimmunity. It is when the body cells fail to identify the self and the non-self and start attacking its own cell, and thus bringing about damage, and this eventually will lead to a disease, and this disease is called as the autoimmune disease. Example of an autoimmune disease is rheumatoid arthritis. Among the youngsters and the youth today, consumption of alcohol is become a very increasing problem. It is a matter of concern because it has many harmful effects, and what we need to do is we need to give proper education and guidance to these youth so that they safeguard themselves, protect themselves against the harmful and the effects of this abusive substances. Now generally the youth in the adolescence period, that is the period between 12 to 18 years, where usually the childhood is getting connected with the adulthood, there are several biological and behavioral changes that the child or the person encounters or experiences. They are at a very vulnerable phase of their life because mentally and psychologically they are undergoing development, and this creates what is called as the curiosity, need for adventure, there is need for excitement. So we go into experimentation, and this basically leads the youngsters towards drug and alcohol use. Let us see what are the commonly abused drugs and which are there. These are falling under three categories. One is the opioids, second one is the cannabinoids, and third one is the coca alkaloids, also called as cocaine. The first one, that is opioids, they are binding to specific receptors of opioids in the central nervous system and the gastrointestinal tract. Some of the opioids which we commonly hear is heroin, which is also called as smack. It is a white, bitter, odorless crystalline compound. It is obtained by acetylation of morphine, and this morphine is also obtained from the latex of poppy plant, which is Papaver somniferum. This is an image of the poppy plant. Usually this drug is taken by snorting or injecting it directly into the veins. It has depressant effects on the system, and it generally slows down the body function. Now the morphine which is taken from this plant or extracted from this plant is also very useful medicinally, because it is an effective sedative and a painkiller which is used on patients that have undergone surgery to lower the pain. The second group of abusive substances is cannabinoids. These cannabinoids basically have cannabinoid receptors with which they interact in the brain. They are naturally obtained from the inflorescences of the plant, which is called as cannabis sativa. Usually the flower tops, the leaves and the resin of the cannabis are used in various combinations to procure different categories of cannabinoids. Some of them can be marijuana, hashish, charas and ganja. So these drugs can be taken by inhalation or by oral ingestion, and they seem to have drastic effects on cardiovascular system of the body. The third category of the drug is coca alkaloids or cocaine. It is commonly called as coke or crack. It is obtained from coca plant, Erythroxylum coca. Now this has effects on the transport of a dopamine, that is the neurotransmitter that is present in surrounding our nerve cells, and it interferes in the transport of this dopamine. It has stimulating action on the central nervous system. This is taken by snorting generally, and excessive dosage of the drugs can be also causing hallucinations. The other drugs which also cause hallucinations are obtained from plants like datura and Atropa belladonna. So these are also having some hallucinating properties. Now generally one has to remember that most of these drugs are used as medicines to cope up with the illnesses that one can face, like mental depression or any other physical effects that one sees. These drugs mostly has medicinal properties, so they can be used as medicines. But when these drugs are taken for purposes other than medicinal uses, or in amounts or frequency that is impairing one's physiological and psychological functions, it can be now considered as drug abuse. The next type of the category of drug is tobacco. Now tobacco has been used by human race for more than 400 years. It is popularly smoked, chewed or even used as snuff. It contains large number of chemicals and some of them are alkaloids, and one of the most common alkaloid is nicotine. Now what does this nicotine does? It stimulates the adrenal glands to release its hormones, which are adrenaline and noradrenaline, into the blood, due to which it can raise the blood pressure and also increase the heart rate. Now chewing of tobacco is also a traditional practice in most of the rural background people, where is associated with increased risk of oral cancer. Now one has to remember that there are many benefits as one takes this kind of drugs or alcohol, wherein you get a temporary feeling of euphoria or feeling of being well by using these drugs or by using alcohol, and thus the people are prompted to use these drugs and alcohol very frequently and repeatedly. So once these drugs become very frequent and repeated, they become addiction over a period of time. And addiction means the body becomes dependent on this drug, and suddenly if there is disruption of or discontinuation of the dosage or the regular dosage, the body will show certain characteristic and unpleasant symptoms which will be known as the withdrawal syndrome. Now some of the withdrawal syndrome or symptoms are anxiety, you will have shakiness, nausea, sweating. These are some of the common withdrawal symptoms, and these withdrawal symptoms will stop once you resume the intake of the dose of the drug. So these can also be life threatening and they need to have medical supervision. Now what are the general effects of drug and alcohol abuse? One can see the immediate adverse effects of the consumption of drug and alcohol abuses. There is reckless behavior in the youth basically who are taking this, abusing these substances. They generally become vandalized. There is violence seen in these people, and they become extremely aggressive. There is sometimes excessive dosage can also lead to coma and sometimes death due to heart failures, respiratory failures or cerebral hemorrhage. In general, if you see the youth, there will be drop in the academic performances, unexplained absence from school or college. They will have relationship issues with the friends and families. They are always fighting with their family, loss of interest in the hobbies, and there will be depression. So they will be usually left out. Some social implications are also there, that they may not find enough money to procure these drugs, and so they might go into stealing of money to procure the drugs. Sometimes the intravenous drug abusers are the ones who take intravenously these drugs through injections, are much likely to get HIV and hepatitis B infection, because using of the same syringes will usually help in the transmission of this particular diseases or infections. And as far as alcohol is concerned, it can damage severely your liver. So alcohol leads to a very severe liver damage and also to the nervous system, and there are many more implications which one can add on. Now how does one bring about prevention and control of these diseases, the drug abuse or the alcohol abuse? One needs to avoid undue peer pressure. So it has to be understood in the school setup of the child or in the family setup that each child is unique and has different capabilities, so should not be pressurized for choosing a particular career and should be allowed to do at its free will the different occupation that one needs to do. So there should be no peer pressure surrounding this person, because of which he might or she might go into abuse of these narcotic substances and alcohol. Secondly, education and counseling is very important, because we need to understand that there are stresses in normal day to day life. They are part of our life. They need to be addressed properly, and if one knows what is the stress and how to deal with it, then one speaks with somebody who is able to guide this youngsters, okay, into proper direction. This will be very helpful to them, because it will otherwise, if they are not given proper education and counseling, may go into abusing these different narcotic substances and alcohol, which is going to damage their future. Then seeking help from parents and peers. So the person also needs to understand that one needs to speak out to the problems that are faced by the youth in day to day life, to their parents and also to their friends, so they can communicate effectively to their parents. The friends can also communicate effectively things to the parents about the concerned person, and only then, if the parents are aware of such a thing that is happening with the child of theirs, they can seek some help for that child. Then looking for danger signs. Again, there are certain social characteristics which will be present in the child, which one has to identify, which are going to indicate that the child is often going into this or initial stages of this alcohol and drug abuse, and after identifying, you need to work on it. And then there are seeking professional and medical help. This is very important, because after identifying that the person is into this addiction of alcohol and drugs, you need to seek professional help, medical help. You need to attend the rehabilitation centers, where they train you, where they counsel you to live a life healthy and fit without using these abusive substances, and they will help you to join into some other means of recreation, that is spending your time more into your hobbies, your sports and other activities, which will keep you engaged and have a perfectly healthy life. So this is the end of the chapter here. These are some of the questions for you to ponder upon. Some practice questions which you will have to solve. And that's it with this chapter. Thank you.
Prudent Scholars, powered by Lupin Pharmaceuticals.
अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस। अब आपकी सुरक्षा आपके हाथों में। ल्यूपी सेफ हैंड सैनिटाइजर, आपका और चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स का फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस।